Welcome back. Our friend Rob Blevins from the Discovery Center is here today. Good morning.
Good morning.
We were just talking about it's back to school, and school is still in session at the Discovery Center.
Yes, we absolutely have that going on. Right now, we're finishing summer camps, which have been wild. We've had about 5,000 students come through this summer with fun subjects like nerfology, where you learn the science of Nerf. So you learn physics through Nerf weapons.
I love that.
They have battles and all of that. And so it's great because kids don't know they're learning. But then, and they'll even say that. And later you'll be like, okay, and then they'll start talking about the physics concepts that they've learned.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you didn't learn anything today, you just played with Nerf. Okay.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So Rob, can I just rewind just before we get back to school?
Okay.
I know summer camp's running. We need to rewind because the last time you were here, you were a finalist for a very big, large monetary grant.
Yeah.
And we have not seen you since. We want to hear all about it.
How did that go?
Because we talked about it on our show because we were so happy.
Yeah.
So remind everybody about how amazing the Discovery Center is and what you got because it's so well deserved.
Yeah, so in December of 21, we traveled to New York City. So we were at the Forbes Event Center on 5th, Forbes on 5th, and they announced that we were the YOS Prize in Education winner that came with $1 million grant.
That's amazing.
So Forbes Media, and then immediately Wall Street Journal was covering it, and I was like, we're in Wall Street Journal, and I used to read this for free at my high school as a kid because I was weird. High schooler reading Wall Street Journal, you know.
How has that money changed the Discovery Center?
Well, we've been able to use it for our school, for instance, and bring in new exhibits and a lot of updates with that and really expand our school program that we have, the Discovery School. So one of the fun things at summer camp, there was a little girl leaving the other day, and she was like, I want to go to school here, Dad. I want to go to school here. And you can actually go to school at the Discovery Center.
That's
so
amazing.
So we have kindergarten through 8th grade. 80 spots for that. We're going to take 10 of those spots and open up a preschool in the center this fall. So
that would have been the kind of school I would love to have gone to.
Me too.
It's pretty amazing. So it's a 1 to 10 ratio with students to adults, so you get a lot of personal time with your teacher that way. We don't allow bullying in our school. I know, like growing up, when didn't we witness that?
Yeah.
Or being the victim of it.
Absolutely.
But we can actually like see that stuff going on and address it. You don't have to be friends with everyone in class, but you have to treat them with respect and kindness.
Yeah.
It's a very inclusive place that way.
That's great. I'm glad that you're
What a great
doing
lesson that is. I like what you just said. You don't have to be friends with them. You just have to get along with them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because not everybody in life is ever going to, you know.
Not everybody gets along perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
that was an illustration of you guys get along.
I'm just saying in life, though, you meet people, and sometimes personality, that's the whole thing about human nature, though. Sometimes personalities click a note, but it's about, I just love
Same
that,
things with animals. Not all animals like each other.
That's true.
That is so true.
We have learned that.
But I like that what you're talking about as far as the kids are learning and they are not even realizing that they're learning. You know, back in the day, we just were over these textbooks and stuff. And I love that you've come up with so many great ways to teach science. When you come in here, we learn so much and it's fun.
That's the trick. So we always say it's putting the sugar on the cereal. So you got to get your vitamins, you have to get your nutrition, but sometimes people don't want to eat it if it doesn't have sugar on top of it.
I'm a fan of sugar.
I don't want to eat it without the sugar either. Yeah.
Just got to trick them a little bit.
That's so great. Yeah,
so
we've learned so much.
We have learned a lot from you, and we loved, and we heard from producer Jake, you're going to be coming back on doing more of those experiments that we love.
Yes.
So what's going on for back to school time at Discovery Center?
So school starts Monday. So it's a frantic rush to get ready for that first day. We'll obviously have sort of a welcome party for all the kids with pom-poms and that sort of thing.
How fun.
Music and dancing and the pictures. That's like my favorite thing is the kids in their pictures and then getting to see those on social media later, like last year, what they looked like and this year and that progression. And, you know, just the excitement of going back to school. Not every kid's excited to go back to school, but in our school, they are. They come out like,
bet
yes,
they are.
the Discovery Center. They don't play in the center all day long. There's a lot of learning that goes on. So that's part of the lesson that they have to learn. It's like, yeah, you get tons of time in the center messing with exhibits and experimenting and things like that. But it's also school. So
How many kids are in each class?
10. Just 10.
Just
so
10.
Oh, the 1 to 10 ratio you were saying.
So yeah, and we do individualized learning with that. So you may have a second grader that's doing 5th grade math, and they're going to get 5th grade math. Or you may have a second grader that's still doing kindergarten level math. And they could be in the exact same classroom getting just different lessons.
Is it important when the teacher's there? I love the small ratio of teacher to students because I know growing up in Dallas, I would have 30 to 40 kids in my class with one teacher.
Yeah.
is it imperative for the teacher to understand how students, like you said, learn differently? Because this kid's on this level, this kid's on a much higher level. How do you balance that? Because the teacher has to pace themselves on how fast to move on to the next thing.
Right, yeah, so there's a lot of small group activities where they'll pair people with the standards that they're on. So what we do is we take the learning standards and go across them kind of like a continuum. And so, you know, you may have like 6 students out of 10 that are working on this one standard, and you can kind of put them in a group and do that, and then the other 4 working on that, and maybe you'll send a couple of kids up to the older class to work with their peers.
Well, that's a great idea.
Sense. So it really just you can really just move it around that way. It does take a lot more planning time, and so they get a lot more planning time.
And the teachers are paying attention to who needs what, and that's great.
Yeah, and they're assessing them constantly and checking them across, and the goal is to move them across that period, and then to the next level, or whatever. We go backwards too. So we had a kid that couldn't read that was in 1st grade, and by the time he left our program, he was reading, I think, at a 2nd or 3rd grade level.
Wow,
that is great.
In about a 6 months time span, he learned that reading thing. And then,
that's awesome.
Students that came in at 5th grade that were doing 2nd grade math, that was a scenario, and within a semester, he was noticing that he was doing higher level math than his peers next to him, and he felt really proud of himself.
Yeah.
Probably higher level math than me, so just so you know. Probably.
Yeah, that is so great. We love the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
We can't
if
wait to see
people want
it.
more information, what's the website?
discoverycenter.org/school. We'll direct that, and we still have some spots this
You
fall.
do have
Yes,
spots?
we have
There's spots available. I thought it'd be all booked up.
too.
Well, we got to expand it recently, so we have new spots.
That's wonderful.
Go check that out. By the way, we're going to be playing some STEM trivia. Can you stay and play with us?
I would love to.
We're going to rely on you.
I never say no to playing.
Okay, good. We'll be back with STEM trivia with Rob.
Yes, that'll
We're
be
gonna
fun.
need a lot of help.
Yeah, we're going to need help.
I may not give you